Hey everyone, welcome back to Data with Purpose. So today we're going to be having Pastor Ruki. So she'll be talking to us about growing through conflict in a dating relationship. And many times I've discovered that there are certain things that are meant to be very work out for people for young relationships, but just because of conflict, sometimes it dies very early. So today we'll be having her to speak to us on growing through conflict in a dating relationship. So we're going to be waiting for her to join us soon. Hi, thanks for joining. So we're waiting for rookie Pinel to actually join us now. And if she joins us, we're going to start go straight up to the point. So today we're talking about growing through conflict in a dating relationship. So please let's wait for her while she joins us. Okay. Thank you very much, ma'am. Okay.
Hey,
Good. Good evening, ma.
how are you?
Doing good, ma.
How are you doing, Miracle?
I'm doing great, ma. Thanks so much for accepting my invitation, ma. Thanks
It's
so.
it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, ma. I'm doing good. Thanks so much, ma.
Great to join
Okay.
you on your
Yes, ma.
platform.
Thank you very much, ma. Okay, ma. So I'm going to introduce you like a tradition. We're going to read your introduction and then.
Okay.
Okay. So, ma, please, can you pronounce your name?
Rookie,
Okay,
as
okay,
in
okay, okay.
rookie.
Okay, well, okay. Okay, so Pastor Ricky, a respected teacher of the word, singer and author, counselor. She's the author of Hope Now, an online TV program, international conference with a focus on relationship. She's a seasoned conference speaker and has spoken in conferences in Switzerland, Nigeria, US, UK, India, and Italy, Germany. She pastored the Glorious Vessels International Switzerland with her husband, Pastor Dada. She is a certified pastoral counselor, life coach, and a relationship coach. She holds a postgraduate certificate in organization behavior, project management, and LLM, Masters of International Business Law from City of Law School, University of London. She has been privileged to work with prestigious law firms in Nigeria and Europe. A strong desire to see people live an awesome life, either as singles or married. She enjoys teaching and mentoring men and women, teenagers and single parents. That is Pastor Rookie. Thanks very much, my pastor.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. It's a real big pleasure being here with you and with your viewers. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining. Okay, ma. So today, Pastor Rookie will be speaking on growing through conflict in a dating relationship between the singles. I think we have a lot of singles. I'm also a single too, so we are here. We're ready to learn from you, ma.
Awesome, awesome. This is where my passion lies. I like to talk to singles, to married. I love to talk about relationship, as you've read in my bio. I have this platform called Hope Now. It's all about relationship, and I love it. Thank you. This is a very powerful topic, because I actually had talked last year about handling conflicts in a healthy manner in relationship, but this made it, streamlined it into the dating scene. And then I was looking at the word growing through conflicts, growing through conflicts in a dating relationship. One, we have to look at what is a dating relationship. So a dating
Hmm.
relationship is when a guy and a girl, are in a friendship, and looking to take it to the next level, obviously. They're not yet engaged, but they're getting to know each other. So this is the point where they should take things slow. However, one thing that I know for sure, mostly, is that during this phase, everybody tries to put their best foot forward.
Hmm.
And so if anything comes up that brings up conflict, it's a blessing. I'm telling
Hmm.
you, it's a very powerful blessing. How you handle it, how you look at it, how you focus on it, how you examine what it is, the attitude displayed by you or by the relationship partner are all learning curves for the relationship, if you know how to
Hmm.
handle it right. Because that's the thing,
Hmm.
conflicts are actually meant to make two people get more intimate and get to know each other more and increase their mutual respect for each other if handled right. However, in
Hmm.
a dating relationship, the best foot is what the couple usually bring forward. And so I would like to seize this opportunity to talk to singles that listen, be yourself. Be yourself
Hmm.
in a relationship. Don't try to put up this false facade just because you're desperate to get married, because this is what we handle now in marital counseling. So I have to really appeal to the singles. You know, you put your best foot forward. Everybody pretends that everything is fine. You're okay with everything. You see red flag and you say, oh, I guess it's pink. You know, it's not really red. Maybe it's orange, you know. It's probably not that bad, you know. Yeah, maybe it's baby pink, you know. Red is red. Don't, don't go making excuses for what you really should be learning from. If there's something that you're not down with, because you're being yourself and you're not desperate, you're able to handle it in the right way. I'm going to share with you, obviously, the steps, you know, the practical steps about how to handle conflicts in a very constructive way. But the first thing I want to establish is be yourself. A relationship is not going to complete you. I don't know who tells people this error that being married completes you. It's not true. You're meant to complement your partner. So you have to be bringing your whole self, a whole, WHOLE. You need to be whole. So if you have some brokenness in the past, if you have some pain in the past, if you have issues, background issues, which is usually the problem, don't look for a partner to settle it. If you have financial problems, please go look for how to pay your bills by yourself first. Marriage is not meant to complete what's missing in your life.
Hmm. Hmm.
Marriage is an assignment. Marriage is a mission. You ought to have something that you're bringing to the table emotionally, financially, spiritually, and physically to the relationship. Where that is not happening, then you're bringing yourself as a needy person to the relationship. And because you're needy, because you feel you need them, then you tend to pretend and
Hmm.
hide who you truly are. You know, you sweep everything under the carpet just because you're very desperate to be in that relationship. And then when you get married, and the true you starts to unveil, you know, and vice versa as well. So it's both ways. I'm not talking to just a particular party. Man and women, they're all guilty of this. That everyone is desperate to get married, and then everybody just puts their best foot forward, and then in marriage it starts to unfold. Okay, I know it's impossible to know someone within 1 year or even 2 years. I mean, I've been married for almost 16 years and I'm still
Wow.
discovering things about my husband. So it's impossible to know, but I'm talking about the core of who you are, the essence of who you are, your values, your aims, your visions in life, who you are. You need to know that, and you need to be confident in that. You need to be confident of your strengths and even your weaknesses. A lot of people don't even know their weaknesses, and because
Hmm.
they don't know their weaknesses, what brings up conflicts is usually weaknesses. And the weakness is that I'm talking about, it's an attitude thing. So for example, the classical reason why people clash in a relationship is you don't agree with my worldview. My worldview is different from your worldview. Okay, so why can't I, if I am complete in myself, why can't I accept that maybe your worldview deserves to be your worldview? I don't have to force you, I don't have to bend you to believe in my worldview. When we meld together, when we blend together, we can find a healthy mix in between. You see, the reason for conflict is usually inside the truth that people want their partner to be like them. You cannot
Hmm.
clone people. You cannot clone people. You need to accept people first. Even when you want to change from someone, they have to feel the unconditional acceptance from you first. And then they're willing
Hmm.
to bend backwards or bend forward or go a long run with you trying to find a place of compromise. So this is the reason why there's conflict. We need to understand this foundation. Once you understand that the reason why there's conflict is just because you're two different persons, full stop, period. You have a right to be you, and they have a right to be them. They are the way they are because of where they're coming from, because of their background, because of their training, because of their experiences and their worldview. You are the way you are because of your background, your training or lack of training or whatever. If every human being will understand, like I always say, I'm a crusader of this principle, that every person is a sovereignty. You need to respect the territorial sovereignty of everyone first. Just like you don't go to other countries and start to misbehave. You want to learn their laws and try to respect it, and then you can be accepted. I like the way Apostle Paul wrote in the Bible. He said, in Rome, be as Romans. So if you want to have a relationship that handles conflicts in a very healthy way, you need to have this view that, listen, the reason we're having a conflict is in the first place is because we differ. And we differ is not a bad thing. That we have different opinions, that we have different opinion is not bad. It just shows that we can think. It just shows that we are independent beings. It just shows that we're not automatons, we're not machines. It's fine. It's a challenge for us to now find a place where we can work together and be productive. So I'm going to go into, I don't know how long I have. I wanted to ask you actually, how much time do I have left so that I don't run
Okay,
off?
I think we have about, let's say, 30 minutes.
Okay, I'm going to make you my timekeeper, please. Just give me a heads up when yeah. So the first thing, like I said, is you need to know this foundational truth that you are different and they are different. That's what causes conflict. Even in the normal family scenario with your brothers, with your siblings, with whom you grew up together, it's usually the same thing as well. They have their own opinions of how things should be done and all of that. Then we try to force them, and then there's problem, or you try to cajole them, or you try to criticize them, you know, or you try to manipulate them, and then there's problem, there's fights, and all of that. It's the same thing in relationships. So once you realize that I am dating this person to get to know them, you already remove the burden of trying to please or trying to force, because it's usually two things. It's either the one party is trying to over please the next party, and there's a resentment inwardly because you just feel, oh, it's always his way, it's always our way, or then there's a manipulative trend of trying to force your partner to be like you. So once you realize that I'm in this dating scene to get to know this person, I'm not being forced to marry them. I just want this to sink in. Never ever go into marriage because you're desperate. Marriages, over 50% of marriages end in divorce because of this error. Don't go because you're desperate or because people are forcing you. You know, better to marry late and marry well than go into a marriage that's going to be problematic and might derail your destiny forever and affect generations to come. This topic is a very powerful one, Miracle, I'm telling you, because if singles can already start to be themselves without the pressure of having to perform in a dating scene. I mean, I'm not saying be rude. I'm not saying, you know, eat anyhow, be mannerless, you know, that's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying don't try to pretend about who you truly are. So for example, I'll give a classic scenario. For example, there's a lady who doesn't like a man going out at night, okay? And this guy is dating the lady, and the lady says, oh, I like hanging out at home, you know, I'm a homebody and everything. And the guy, just to get the girl, you know, he plays along. He plays along. And then they get married, and then he starts to do his club with friends. Mind you, not nightclub, he goes to country club, hangs out with friends after work, and he has a very good reason. That's where I make all my business network and all of this. These are the classic scenarios I'm faced with in counseling. And the woman said, but he was not like that when we were dating. He would always cuddle with me. We will talk. We will do this. We will talk for hours. And now he just gets on barely about a few minutes before 11 p.m. He's tired. He just goes to bed, asks me how I am and all of that. And the guy says, yes, I'm trying to avoid the trouble. This same talk, you know, that's what I'm trying to avoid. And this is how I really am. That's what I do. My business networking is how it goes, you know. This is how I do. And I'm like, why didn't you let her know this before marriage? He said, yeah, because she already said, you know, she prefers a guy who is a homebody. I mean, that's deception. That's deception. Or a classic case of a guy who drinks and smokes but goes to church to marry a church girl. There's a whole lot of those cases, you know. So I tell people, please be yourself. Be yourself. It's wickedness to act like who you're not, be it a guy or a girl. And then when you're married, then you start to unfold, you know, the real you. And that's why there's a need for discernment. There's a need for caution when you're dating. There's a need to ask questions and ask questions and ask questions, you know, as much as you can, just to make sure that you get to know who you're getting married to, and of course pray, because at the end of the day you can ask people questions and they answer they give you all the right answers, just like that guy, you know. Or they even do the right things. So the first thing that I would like to establish is that part, that listen, conflict is absolutely normal. It's not crazy, it's not nothing new, it's nothing extraordinary. It's just two people who have different opinions, and it's fine. It's a sign of healthiness. It's a sign of initiative. It's a sign of the fact that you're an independent thinker, and that's fine. But how do you then handle if this conflict is a red flag? That's another thing I want to talk about. That's another thing I want to talk about. If this conflict is a red flag, the way you'll know if a conflict is a red flag will be that, is it something that affects your value? So the first place you want to start is what I started with earlier as well, that you need to know yourself, be confident in yourself. Don't be a needy person. Have your values. Bring your very best self to the table. Own your strengths and be comfortable with your weaknesses, because that's one thing people try to hide. They do their best, you know, to cover up their weaknesses. Whoever wants to marry you has to know your strengths and your flaws, and they have to be okay with it, because that's what they're going to live with the rest of your life, you know. So you need to let them know, hey, this is my strength. These are my known weaknesses. I'm working on them, you know, prayerfully and all of that. Of course, I know this might open you up for exploitation, but if you already accepted your weakness and you're working on it in a healthy manner, you will also know if someone is trying to exploit you, because they tend to be manipulative and controlling and always try to bring, you know, that weakness and all of that. But that's the scope for another day. I just want to make sure that I talk on this fact, this aspect, that it might be a red flag, that conflict you're going through. If the red flag you're going through, for example, is about punctuality. So you're someone who is very punctual. 7 is 7. I mean, maximum 7:05, you know. And this other fellow, 7 means 7:35 or 7:55. It doesn't really matter. Whenever we get there, you know. These are foundational things that might be a deal breaker in marriage. You want to be looking at that. You want to write down your values in life. Number one, what's your overall aim as a single person? What kind of a husband are you looking for? What kind of a wife will complement you? And that can only be possible when you know yourself, you see. So you need to know yourself. You need to know your purpose in life. You need to know your goal, your mission, your vision in life. You need to know what you're supposed to be achieving in the next 5 years. I have a 5-year goal. You know, I have the Hope Now counseling program that I make singles go through, and I give them this 1 year and 5-year goal, you know, assignment. And you need to cast a goal in the next 1 year. Where do you want to be? What do you want to do? In the next 5 years, what do you want to be? Where do you want to go? If being married is part of it, then you have to have a separate vision for your marriage. What kind of marriage would you want to have? What kind of marriage partner would you want to have? Begin to write it down and start to pray over it. Like the Bible says, make the vision very plain, so that whoever reads it, that means you and whoever your partner will be, they already know. It's very clear. There's clarity. There's no ambiguity. There's no trying to please. There's no trying to, you're not desperate. You know that, hey, I am marriage worthy. I am working on myself. I'm bringing my best self to the table of marriage, to the altar of marriage, and my partner ought to be doing the same background work, because these are the things that are the deal breakers in marriage. That one party is done a significant work on themselves and the other party has not even started, you know, at all. It's usually one of the deal breakers. So, but you can know premaritally when you're having conflict. How to know if it's a red flag conflict is if it affects your values. But then again, how would you know if it affects your values when you haven't even defined your values? So singles, please define your values. That's the starting point. To know if it's a red flag, define your values. If it's a red flag conflict, then it usually might be a reason to break up the relationship. Particularly if the other party is not willing to rectify whatever it is and work on it, don't be afraid to let go. A broken courtship is way better, than a broken marriage. Is way better. Or broken dating even. Because I know these days they use the word dating and courtship interchangeably. So whatever it is, if it's dating to marry or dating to get to know each other, whatever it is, that period of waiting, don't waste it. Do your due diligence, like we say, Lord. Do your investigation spiritually, emotionally, physically, financially. Where are they going? They don't have to have all the money in the world, but do they have vision? Do they have something in their future, in their head? Are they visionaries? Are they visionaries? Do they have a goal? You know, these are deal breakers. If that's the reason why there's a red flag, maybe because you see the way he lazes around or the way she lazes around and all of that, these are definitely red flags. But I'm going to tell you, some points of how you need to handle, because of the time now, I need to break it, how you need to handle the ones that are non-red flag conflicts. Because usually this is where some singles, because of the brokenness of their past and because of lack of tact or skill in handling conflicts, you know, lose otherwise potentially good relationships. This is the ignorance, you know. Just because there's conflict doesn't mean that it's a bad relationship, except it's a red flag conflict where there's manipulation, control, outright irresponsibility, and not wanting to take responsibility for change. Then these are red flags, because you can be sure that it will only get bigger, you know, you'll be magnified in marriage. But if it's all about attitude and all of that, let me read to you my notes so that you have more clarity. So the first thing is perspective. So I'm going to be talking about the healthy ways now, healthy ways for you to handle conflict. The first thing you will want to look at is your perspective. It starts with your perspective. Think about what the conflict is about. Is it about eating habits, for example? It will amaze you the kind of things that causes conflict in a dating relationship. Oh, she smacks this amount when she eats. Okay, this can be rectified. This can be corrected. You know, if handled with love and tact and skill. Is it about career? You know, oh, I don't want to marry a military person. You need to define what is the problem. Is it a career choice? Is it financial management? Is it third parties? Or the way he hangs out with his friends? The way he's so close to his mom? This and that. Is it spirituality? Are you a strong believer who believes in a lot of praying, and this person is just like a nominal Christian, you know, and all of that? So you need to identify what is the source, what's the source of the conflict, one, and then begin to question your perspective. Is it my perspective about, like I said, the eating one? That's the one that's very easy to relate to. I don't like the way he eats and all of that. Is it something that can be corrected? Is it something I can gently, you know, nudge a change? For example, financial management. Is this person willing to change? Is it teachable? If I speak to them about it, are they teachable? So use very soft skills first. I'm going to get that point too, so I don't want to jump. But you need to shift your perspective. Once you know what the cause of the conflict is, you need to, you know, turn around your perspective a bit and wonder, what if? I'm not saying make excuse for them if it's an outright indiscipline. Okay, but if it's something that has to do with maybe their worldview or the way they grew up or their background issue and all of that, and you know in your heart this person is a good person, they just need a little bit of, you know, training in that area or a little bit of nudging in that area, then it's all about how you handle communication. We'll get to that soon. But you need to have a check in your perspective. Is it my worldview? Am I expecting too much too soon? Or am I just being impossible about this person? Or is this a red flag? That's the number one thing that you need to know. You have to be ready to change the trajectory of your perspective if it is you that's been too demanding, if it's you that's been too much of a perfectionist and all of that. The second one is that you have to use the soft approach. You have to use the soft approach. I always say to people, humor, a good natured humor goes a long way in diffusing a very caustic, very acidic situation, and makes people more open to receive correction. Everybody knows, we've all experienced it before. Nobody likes criticism except you've trained yourself to learn how to handle constructive criticism. Nobody likes to be criticized, especially criticized harshly. So if you have anything that's not complimentary to say, you have to be ready to say it in a very soft way. You have to work on your tone first. Always wait until you are in a good mood and they are in a good mood. Always don't bring things up in the heat of the moment. You need to train yourself. You need to train yourself to calm down. Calm down. If something is an annoyance to you, if something is irritating to you, don't speak at that point. Don't speak at that point. This is the time to do a little bit of meditation. Like I said, go back to number one and begin to ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? Is there anything that can be done? What is the best way? What's the respectable way to do this and all of that? You have to work on your own mental health to be in a position where you can talk to the person with respect. Respect and love is what will make people be more willing to yield towards whatever you're saying to them. If you go in a very accusatory tone and very accusing, very attack mode, very aggressive mode. I don't like the way you talk. I don't like the way you eat. I don't like. I mean, you've killed the spirit of that person. And you can be sure that it will escalate from there. Either they match your tone or they close down on you. Men are very good at that. Most men will shut down at that point if he feels disrespected. So if you want to solve a conflict in a dating situation, because remember, it's very sensitive. A dating situation is usually that you don't even have any tangible connection with each other. You're still trying to get to know each other. So you use humor. Humor is a nice way of asking people where they're coming from. Asking people where they're coming from. Ask them questions in a very soft way and go like, okay, oh, I like the way you eat is very interesting. I see that you make sounds when you eat. Okay, is this something you just like to do, or you're not conscious of it and all of that? And if you see it's very offensive to them, you've dropped the hint in a respectful way. Just take a backtrack immediately. If you notice the atmosphere changed negative, so, oh, I didn't mean to offend you. I'm sorry if that offended you. But hey, notice you've dropped the hint. He or she already knows there's an issue with the way they eat. They'll probably go to their friend or their brother or whoever they trust to find out, do I eat well? If they're willing to change. If they're not willing to change, if they're not teachable, because that's another side of the coin. If they're not teachable and you know that it's a deal breaker for you to be married to someone who smacks their mouth when they eat, please take a walk. It's just a sign to you that when there are greater issues to resolve, it will escalate, into a very huge schism, between you. So don't even compromise on that. Use humor is the second one. The third one is, when you use humor, then be willing to listen to the other party's view. Be respectful enough to listen, even if you don't agree with whatever they are saying concerning the conflict, whatever the conflict is. It doesn't matter if it's financial, it doesn't matter if it's career choice, like I talked about. You have to be very open and very respectful enough to listen to them. Let them talk. Let them talk and actively listen. Let them know you're actively listening to them. Let them know that you respect them and you value what they say enough to listen without interjecting them or breaking them or cutting through their sentences, because that's one of the things that also escalates conflict. And then you start to send a signal to your partner that you're rude, you're impatient, and all of that. You have to be willing to listen to them. That's the third one. It's very important. Active listening. I mean, there's a course I always do on communication, and active listening is definitely a huge part of that. You need to learn to listen and listen and listen. The Bible says you should be very quick to listen and slow to speak. So listen and listen to them very well. The fourth one is you have to decide to be a builder and not a destroyer of peace. So the reason why you're bringing up this thing, this issue that's causing this conflict, or raising a point, you know, about whatever you're dissatisfied about, is not really to kill their spirit or to destroy the peace of your relationship. It's a mind thing. You need to work on yourself, spirit, soul, and body, and be sure, like I said, that you're in a place that you are conciliatory. You want reconciliation. You want, even if the relationship is going to break, you need to communicate to them that, hey, I'm not disrespecting you. I don't mean to disrespect you. I just wanted to understand this, and all of that. So you have to make a decision to be a builder and not a divider or a destroyer of peace, you know. So that means you need to get over your own hurt. So for example, if you were in a restaurant with a group of friends and they were smacking their mouth and you felt embarrassed, you need to get over your embarrassment. You need to get over your hurt feelings before you bring this up with them. Because if you don't, then you're going to be speaking to them from the place of your hurt. You're going to be speaking to them in vengeance. You're going to be spewing that venom of how badly they behaved and reflected you publicly on them. These are little character and attitude adjustments that can make you a better partner in a relationship, honestly. Actively listen, and then make sure you have resolved beforehand that you want to be a builder and not a destroyer of a relationship, of a person's relationship with themselves, the self-esteem. So even if you're saying something that you know is a valid point, say it sandwiched with compliments, with talks of affirmation, that, hey, tell them the things they do right. Tell them the things you love about them. Tell them the things you admire about them before pointing out the things that can be changed. But let them know after pointing out the things that can be changed that you still trust them. You still respect them. That's maturity. Those are the things that's going to carry you in the long run for a long-lasting relationship, even when you get married. You need to start to cultivate that attitude. Then the number 5 thing is that you need to resolve, which is the last thing. You need to resolve not to win arguments. I see this happen all the time with couples. Just someone wants to be the dominant one. It has to be that I win. I just want to be the one to carry this, you know, this gold medal of winning this argument. No, it's not. A relationship that's mutually respecting each other should not be about winning an argument. It should be about getting to know each other better, getting to know each other and becoming a team, you know. And this is where I want to stop. You have to, how much time do I have? Do I still have more time?
Yeah, I think you have about 5-10 minutes. 5-10 minutes.
Okay, so it's all about being a team. Marriage, dating. I mean, marriage starts with dating. It's all about being a team. You have to remember that you've been in school and you've been on teams before. You've been in a sports team. You've been in a work team. You've been in a church team. You know all of the rules of the game of being in a team with someone, of being a good team player. You have to be a good team player. It starts again. I'm going to go back to the beginning. It starts again with knowing yourself. So knowing yourself will automatically filter out who even enters your space to want to be on your team. You see, that's where it starts from. So once you know that, and because no two people, I mean, even in the best of teams around the world, we do have conflict. So because no two persons will always agree and see eye to eye, you need these principles that I've shared with you today to know how to handle conflicts while you're dating. And actually, they even apply to when you're engaged or married and all of that. I tried to finish on time.
Thanks very much,
It's
Pat.
not a
Thanks so
competition.
much.
Yes, it's not a competition. I don't know how you
Hmm.
do it if you give your viewers time to feedback or whatever. But I
Yeah.
mean, that's all I want to share.
Wow, wow. Thanks very much, Ma. It was short, but it was very deep, and then it was straight to the point, like straight to the point. So not beating around the bush. Yeah, you get the message you want. Okay, so please, if you have any question, please you can drop your questions. You can start dropping the questions now, so that. So, but I have a question now. How do you manage a relationship where it has to do with attitude? Because of they say attitude is 100% of everything about life. So now,
Hmm.
let's say you have a partner who has issues with expressing themselves when they are hot. Should that be a red flag in, I mean, let's say, for example, I'm in a relationship and then my partner did something to me, and then I'm so hot that I kept quiet about it. I didn't say anything. I just kept quiet. And the other partner was like, I don't like it when I hurt you, when I do something to you, and then you keep it to yourself.
You don't
If
talk.
you talk about it. And yes, exactly. So should that be a red flag in a relationship?
That's a powerful point that you brought forward. So one party believes in just, is it that you don't talk about it at all, or you don't talk about it at that time?
No, don't talk about it. Don't even talk about it.
That's a red flag. That's definitely a red flag. That's what I talked about in the first place of sweeping things
Hmm,
under the carpet. So they don't want to talk
hmm,
about issues because it's usually due to insecurity. You know, at the root of it, it's just because I don't have enough time. At the root of people who don't handle conflicts very well is insecurity, is fear. You know,
hmm,
which is always traceable to something, to a trauma in the past. But it is a red sign. It's a big red flag. It's one of the major causes of incompatibility in marriage that leads to divorce, honestly. So it's a very powerful point that you brought forward.
hmm,
If one party believes in talking, which actually you must talk about conflicts in a relationship, you know, if you're secure, that's what I talked about at the foundational level. If you're secure about who you are, you don't feel threatened if somebody brings up what is not good for them, their dissatisfaction. You will respect that, like I talked about. You respect individual sovereignty of people, of your partner, and vice versa. Where you have a problem voicing yours, it's a result of a wrong uh,
hmm,
environmental factor. There's something wrong. There's maybe how you were raised,
hmm,
maybe trauma from the past. It's always something, you know. There's always something, and the root of that something is fear and insecurity. So that's a
hmm.
big red flag. It's one of the things I'm telling you. Most of the counseling and men, unfortunately, men are the most guilty of this. I have to tell you the truth. So I'm happy you brought that up. There are some women, I mean, I've counseled cases, I've counseled marital couples, married couples, that a couple of ladies are like that as well. But it's usually 99.9% of the time, it's usually men who
Hmm,
just keep quiet and all of that. And the root of the cause of that is because men are being taught to bottle up their emotion, not to talk like
hmm,
women, you know. So most men, and it's every man around the world. I mean, I've been privileged to counsel and mentor men of different colors, different nationalities around the world. Men are men at the end of the day. You know, we used to think, it's African men. No, no, no. I mean, I live in Europe. I mentor and counsel Europeans and Asians, you know, Americans is the same. That most men don't believe in talking because that's the way they're wired to be external, you know, and visual beings and all of that. They're not, their strength is not talk. However, I always tell men that if you want to be married happily and stay married, then you need to cultivate a habit of speaking up about what's going
hmm.
on within you. You need to speak up what's going on. You need to learn. I tell men start to try to write down because most men don't even know how to articulate. You know, like women.
Hmm.
Women are born to speak. You know, I don't know if you know that, but it's been scientifically proven that women can speak up to 20,000 words a day. Dr. Luan Gibson Green. did that test, you know, and men can only do maximum. The best of talkers, male talkers, can only do 7,000. You can see the difference already. So if you are that man, or I mean, there are women as well. If you're a woman and you're listening to me, if you want your relationship to last long, and be healthy, you need to learn to speak up where there's a conflict. If you're dissatisfied with anything, you need to speak up. It's just respect. It's a sign of respect, and that's love. Respect and love goes hand in hand. Respect for your partner means that I will let you know what's going on inside of me. I want to be close to you, because transparency is the cement of intimacy, actually. You cannot be close to each other. You cannot be intimate with each other where there is no transparency. There has to be transparency. Transparency means being naked. That was the original way marriage was. You know, Adam and Eve being naked and not being ashamed or afraid. You need to have that kind of relationship with your partner where you don't feel intimidated in sharing your heart, you know. And if you're a partner whom your partner has shared their heart with before, they've been naked emotionally before you, they've been transparent, and you used it against them, then you need help. You need therapy as well, because that's immature. If you've done that to a man or a woman who had opened up to you, because that's the other side of the coin, you know. If you're a man or a woman whom, because somebody showed you their weak points, or they were transparent about their pain, and you use it against them, feeling like the alpha male or alpha woman, that's actually immaturity. You know, it is immature, you know. It is immature. So empathy, true love empathizes, even when it doesn't understand the whole story. You empathize, you're willing to, the Bible says love suffers long. You're very patient. You stoop low to their level to get to know them. Even if you would do it differently, it doesn't mean you're better than them, you know. Just because you're strong in one area and they are weak in one area, it's always vice versa in a relationship. And that's why I said it's complementary. So you're both bringing your best self to the table to complement each other, and you're both not afraid of your weaknesses. You're transparent with your weak, because you're confident that, hey, that's not a deal breaker, because I'm working on it, and I just need you to support me in this work as well, and vice versa. So I hope that answered your question. But definitely you have to talk. You have to talk. You have to learn. You have to go through therapy, if you have to go through therapy to talk about issues. You know, it's a deal breaker.
Okay, so I think that, okay, we have a last question here before we just, she said, what if not wanting to speak up is as a result of the response of the other partner, that their response costs you more odds and you decide to shut up?
So I agree with that. That happens a lot as well. Yeah, that's a valid reason to not talk, but also let them know why. Let them know. Don't go into malice or bitterness. This is what usually people do in a relationship. So because they've been hurt by what they said before, then they go into the, you know, the extreme zone of bitterness and malice, and not just talking, just shut down, you know, emotional unavailability. Let them know. Let your partner know. I give them examples. I talk to you on this occasion, I talked to you on that occasion. You either used it against me or ridiculed me, you know, or hurt me by your response. So maybe we need a third party. Maybe we need a professional. This is what I always tell people. When you let your partner know that I'm not talking to you, not because I don't want to talk to you, but because I want to talk to you only when we can talk to each other in a healthy manner. Do you understand? So you've removed the possibility of malice. You're just telling them, hey, listen, I'm still all for love. I'm still all for togetherness. I'm still all for teamwork, but under the aegis of respect. There has to be that umbrella of mutual respect for each other. And if we can't do it together, then maybe we need an expert. Maybe we need a counselor. Maybe we need therapy. So that way you've let them know that I'm not keeping malice with you, but I'm still not wanting to, you know, allow myself be hurt again by you because you did this and that before. And they can manipulate you and say, yeah, you never forgive, you never forget, and all of that. I mean, this is what I do, so I know all the different scenarios that can crop up and all of that. You need to maintain your stand and let them know, let's try a counselor. Let's try a counselor, at least just to have a third party opinion from an expert. And please, I beg you singles, stop broadcasting your business to everyone. Not everyone qualifies to be a marriage counselor. Not even all pastors. I say this. Not all pastors are marriage counselors. You should take your relationship issue to relationship experts. I'm telling you the truth. The most problems that we have most times is even, you know, it's enlarged and what do you call them now? The third party influence and the third party interference is what usually enlarges the problem that people have by going to the wrong party and talking to the wrong people, talking to family, talking to their friends, talking to their sister in church, talking to this and that and that. And then you have so many conflicting, you know, so many conflicting counsels. And so be careful definitely who you take your relationship business to. That's very important.
Okay. Thanks very much, Ma. So I think we have the last one now. We'll just take this last one. So you said, what is the solution for a partner who is unwilling to humble to learn in a relationship?
If it's a dating relationship, that's what I said earlier on. If it's a dating relationship, then you have to make up your mind to leave. And if you don't leave, then you have to make up your mind to live with that, even in it's a make up your mind. This is what I tell people. I mean, you can't, at the end of the day, the decision is yours. I can tell you to break the relationship if you want to stay in the relationship, if you think you can stay in the relationship. But I'm telling you, anything you see in a dating situation premaritally is going to be huge, exponentially larger in marriage. People only change if there's intervention. People only change if something, either divine intervention or therapy or anything. So if you've seen anything now, and if they've shown you that they are not teachable, they're not humble, every time you try to talk to them, they flare up, no matter how nice you are, because I know I talked about the steps of how to handle the conflict. If you follow all of these steps and they're still, you know, very defensive, and all of that, or even go on the offensive and start to then hit back at you and all of that, these are definitely red flags. If it's a dating relationship, please move on. And if you choose not to move on, then you're also choosing to live with the consequences. Don't say Pastor Ricky didn't tell you.
Okay, I was thinking of letting you go, but this is the last question.
I know.
Okay. Okay, so she said, what if they always want to hear themselves and they never want to hear you? They feel they are always right.
That's why I like the title that is Growing Through Conflict. In a dating relationship. It's a dating relationship. A dating relationship can be broken. It's a time of getting to know. It's not a do or die affair. If while you're dating, they don't even respect your opinion enough to listen to you, what are you waiting for? If it's not that you are controlling and you're rude, you follow all the steps I've talked about to legitimately voice your opinion, and they only want to listen to themselves, I'm telling you, it will only exponentially grow in marriage. So the time to move and work is now. The time to move and work is now. The time to move and work is now. I'm telling you, don't even compromise on that one. Don't. That's an egoist or maybe even a narcissist. You never know any of the serious personality disorders you're dealing with here. So once you see a red flag, don't think it's pink or yellow. It's red. Red is red. Just move.
Thanks very much, Ma. Okay, so I think we're done with the questions. So now, please, I want us to say a big thank you to Pastor Ruki, please. I want us to say a very thank you from I think we have about 6 people live stable. So please let's just say thank you, Ma. Let's just say thank you, please. It's a great privilege because of she had the Facebook live, and then she took up time to still come back here to speak to us. Please, let's say a big thank you. Big thank you. Thanks very much, Ma, for accepting.
It's a pleasure.
For update, I don't know if we can follow up for update and open because she inspired me too. So It also inspire
Amen.
you. For thanks very
Amen.
much, Master.
Thank you, Miracle. Thank you
Yes, ma'am.
so much. Thank you. I really enjoyed coming on your platform. And I
Thank
love
you very
what
much.
you're doing. Keep doing the good work. And I see God opening greater doors for you in Jesus' name. Keep on going. Keep on going. Keep on going. You're blessed, everyone. Thanks for having me. Thank you, guys.
Okay. So let's say bye
Thank you,
to
guys.
Mr. Wookie. Bye bye. Let's just see the sign. Let's do the sign thing.
Take
Okay.
care. Take care, everyone. Take care of you. See you soon.
Okay, guys. Thanks very much for joining. I want to say big thank you. Okay, let me start saying thank you to everyone. Okay. Let me say thank you to everyone. I don't know. It seems we like relationship here. Oh. I think we have a lot of people who like relationships. So I'll just say thank you to Jay, Benga. I see you. For lucky, I see you. First Speaks, I see you too. Thanks very much, guys, for joining. And I hope you were blessed. And I want to say big thank you to Pastor Wookie. And we're going to see same time by next week when we're talking about the power of habits. And that's on the leadership section. Okay. See you guys later. Bye.